Welcome everyone, and this is my post-game roundup of pre-release for the Brothers War. Just like any sealed Magic event, it really was a story of haves and have-nots. But this set had a very noticeable, even larger power difference between those who got unlucky and those who did. And this was mainly caused by the retro artifacts. It was completely possible for you to pull 4 retro artifacts. They're absolute game-winning win cons. Plus 3 or 4 other mythic rares from your draft packs that were part of the set. And since all of the retro artifacts are artifacts, and about a third of the mythic bomb rares in the set itself are also artifacts, there was a very high chance that if you got a good card, you could play it no matter what color you were playing. So, if you got 4 really good win cons out of your retro artifacts, you had 4 more win cons than most other people who were just pulling uncommon, not so great retro artifacts. Normally, that kind of power difference isn't seen in sealed, and this was just really hard felt, really leading to very uneven matches with a lot of problems on the board that needed responses. Really high stakes magic, basically, in limited. And so, it was kind of fun that everyone's deck who were doing well had so many different win cons in their deck. It was fun to see those all hit the board and have impacts, and you have to be able to respond to it. But let's say you didn't get enough removal in your pool, or you didn't get the bombs. You were just sitting there not having a good time being run over by everybody else. So it was just really, really larger than normal power differences in the pools that you were opening. I do believe that this problem will be less obvious in draft, whereas in sealed, you're just stuck with it. And because you're opening 6 packs instead of 3, the problem just compounds with every pack that you didn't get something that other people did. Hopefully, that was only a sealed issue for the set. But, it could be an issue that permeates into draft in some form as well. I haven't drafted the set yet, but I am extremely worried about the power difference based on what pack you open. Let's talk about how that impacts the way you should draft and play sealed from this point forward. In general, removal is going to be maybe the most important thing in your deck. You're going to need to have good removal, and you're going to need to have at least 1 bomb rare yourself as a win con. And that's just to keep pace with what the other people are doing. Ideally, you're going to want to have 5 to 6 good playable removal spells in your main deck. And you're going to want to have at least 2 bomb rares or win cons. That's a pretty high ask in any limited format. So I'm just saying the bar is high if you want to be competitive. But in order to cross that line into a consistent winner, where you will be winning very consistently, you have to have removal and interaction to do that, because you can almost 100% guarantee your opponent will be able to land a bomb that in and of itself can win the game if you don't respond to it in the next turn. So that's really high stakes. Not a lot of time for you to get rid of it before it becomes a huge problem that's unfixable. I also noticed that most players, even myself, ended up in a 3-color deck. I'm not sure if this was just a sealed issue in order to get enough playables, or if this was just the way the set is playing out. For my situation, I didn't have enough playables, removal, and bombs to keep it to just 2 colors. So I had to move to 3 colors in order to get a win con plus 4 removal spells, which felt bad and desperate, and it was. And it did impact me negatively. I did lose 2 games because I did not hit my mana colors that I needed. I also had to mulligan more times than I usually do. So I also lost card advantage from my start hand. Despite this, I still went 3-0-1. Luckily, not hitting my mana never happened back to back, so it never gave me an outright loss, but it easily could have. I also noticed that the strongest deck I faced all night was the little-known powerhouse, under the radar, no one else seems to be doing it, diamond in the rough, near monocolored deck build that I have been trying to inform you all on in this set. They were running a near mono blue, and they splashed black for removal / draw 2 card synergies and recursion. They also went 3-0-1, but that's only because we ran into each other unluckily and happened to draw each other. But I will say this right here, his deck was much better than mine, and I got lucky to get a draw off of him. This being said, seems like a good time for me to address the topic of how many colors should you be playing in this set, because it seems pretty controversial. So let's break it down. I still definitely stand by my original view that running a near monocolor deck with 2 colors and 1 dominant color is probably going to yield the best deck possible. But on further inspection, I'm going to say that in sealed, you'd be lucky to pull off a near mono deck. That person was the only person in the entire room who was able to do it. They did it very well, but I don't think that's going to happen very often. It's more realistic in sealed for this set to be at minimum running 2 color base, and depending on what colors your removal is in and your bombs are in, if they are not in the same colors, you may be forced into a 3 color base like I was. Removal is so important in this set that it's really not an option to not run removal. Removal is worth dipping into 3 colors for. And also your bomb win cons are necessary to win in this set. So if they're not matching up perfectly, you're going to end up in 3 colors probably. I don't think it's ideal to be in that situation, but I think that's just how this set is playing out. And the fixing in the set is as scarce as I thought it was. But maybe it isn't quite as scarce as I originally thought. I'm not sure how it's going to play out online, but in-store, opening packs, the distributions of packs did seem to have an extraordinarily high chance of the retro artifact being a chromatic star, a burnished heart, or a springleaf drum. All of those are fixing. So you can count on probably opening one of those or being past one of those in draft to help you splash more easily. With that high of a chance to get one of those cards, 2 colors is looking a little bit more sensible than it originally did, but 3 colors is still looking extremely risky for this set. I also want to point out this for drafters, that if you do want to try and push a near monocolored draft, that can be fairly difficult to do if no one else at your table is doing that. The last thing you want is to go all in on a mono blue deck and half of your blue is getting cut off and you just end up super mediocre. So if everyone else in this set is drafting 2 colors, then you probably are better off going for a multicolored strategy just like everyone else so that you get enough good playables. When drafting this set, and when building your decks in sealed, number 1, you need to prioritize a win con bomb, or 2, or 3, or however many win con bombs you can get your hands on. That is a huge priority. Number 2, removal. You must have removal in your deck, and probably more than you usually play. Just put in 2 more than you normally would, and call it a day. Number 3, drawing cards to increase your odds to hit your removal or your bombs. That's it. That's what the set is all about. After that, you can pretty much do whatever you want in this draft or sealed pool because most games, nothing else made massive dents or waves to really make that big of a difference. Yeah, it was that weird. Which brings me to my 4th and final point. Recursion. Yeah, emergency weld. Hello. Yeah, recommission. You too. Any recursion, actually. Because you're going to be playing with game-winning bombs that are just impossible to deal with unless they have a hard removal spell. Being able to buy it back from the grave is a little bit better than normal, especially with Emergency Weld, where you get a 1/1 chump blocker to buy you time to cast it next turn. So yeah, something like Emergency Weld or Recommission that brings back a win con is extraordinarily powerful in this set. Anyways, that is the end of the pre-release roundup that I have for you. I can't wait to start drafting the set, not because I'm overly excited about it, but just I'm more curious, like, how will this go with sealed being such a disaster for so many people. I mean, I don't know how else to say it. It was a disaster for half the people who showed up. So I do expect complicated drafts. And from what I've seen other people draft, it does look like a very difficult set to draft well. So I can't honestly say that I recommend sealed for the set because the power level is just so uneven between the pools and it's just based on luck. And if you're into that kind of thing, sure, you're going to have a great time with this. But, if you're looking for more equal opportunity, this set is not the sealed set for you. For draft, I'm hoping it's a bit more equal in power level bombs, but I haven't drafted it yet, so we will see. I'm sure there will be some aspect of inequality in drafts. I do think that this is one of those sets where it has bombs you'll want for your constructed decks, and maybe that's just where its fun lives, in constructed. Maybe this is just a constructed set, Like, not as good of a draft set, not as good of a sealed set, but constructed, yeah, it's got the cards. So, maybe it will never be the most amazing draft set that's ever come out, and maybe it won't be the most amazing sealed experience either, but I think constructed it does have value, and, only time will tell. And, who knows, perhaps we'll learn a thing or two new about Magic from this set that we've never had to learn before. I will have drafts on this channel for this set, and I do plan on doing some limited Pauper to Pro deck build videos for this set as well. So if any of that interests you, do be sure to subscribe if you haven't already so you won't miss out on those videos when they release. I am a small channel. I'm pretty sure YouTube buries 99% of my content deep into the non-existent reaches of the internet where no one will ever be able to find it. But that's YouTube for you. So if you ever want to find me again, subscribing is probably the easiest way to reconnect with my channel. As always, if you have any questions about cards or this set in general, please just leave it in the comments. I'll get back to you. And I hope you have a good one, and I'll see you next time.